Hi everyone, welcome to Live Stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are looking at lengthening and stretching into those areas of tightness along the back turn of the body. Think the back of the legs, lower back, as well as the hips and into the groin area. We'll kick off with 3 rounds of sun salutation. Let's keep round 1 basic, and then you can either elect to stay there, or for rounds 2 and rounds 3, you can jazz it up a little bit, see if you can get into more of those areas of tightness. When we come to our primary stretches, I want you to start really gently and open up the body progressively. Don't force the stretches from the get-go. Work within your range of motion, and every time you come to the stretching movements, try and see if you can get a little bit more range of motion. You ready to play? Let's do this. Let's set ourselves up towards the front end of our mat, setting ourselves up for Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A, standing in a comfortable Samasthiti with your feet stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, standing up nice and tall in Mountain Tadasana. Float your hands to prayer and just take a minute to connect to your body and your breath. Take a big breath in to prepare. Float your hands overhead and take a nice little back bend. On the exhale, fold forwards, bending as much as you need to through the knees to connect your hands to the mat and step back into a plank line. Pause, and then gently drop to the knees and caterpillar down into a cobra by bending the elbows, swooping down onto the belly. Hands stay more or less underneath your shoulders. Keep the elbows tucked in. Pause. Now tuck your toes under, push into the hands and the toes and see if you can come into an up dog. Strong through the shoulders and the lower belly. Morph into a down dog by piking your bum up to the ceiling, and then bend alternatively through the legs just to start connecting to that tightness along the back of the legs. Step up the right leg, trying to stack underneath the hips. Step up the left. Bend as much as you need to through the knees to roll up 1 vertebra at a time, coming back to your start position in Tadasana. Let's start moving for flow. Big breath in, take a gentle back bend. Exhale and bring it down, connecting to the mat. Step back into your plank. Pause, strong through the shoulders and the core. Drop to the knees. Relax the bridges of your feet, bend through the elbows, swoop down onto the belly. Find pause in cobra, hugging those elbows in. Tuck your toes under, push up into an up dog, little bow shape through the back, but lots of control through the inner thighs and the belly. Hit your down dog frame and take it for a walk by bending through the alternate knee. Step up 1 leg at a time, stacking underneath the knees, roll it up. We're going to start jazzing it up. Take a big breath in and float your hands overhead. Come back to mountain and float just the left arm behind you, taking a slight twisting motion. Repeat to the right. Fold forward, soft ragdoll, gently sway side to side. Soften through the knees, connect your palms to the mat and step back into plank. Hold your plank or gently sway back and forth by giving me weight into the toes and the heels. Come to stillness, bend the knees, relax the feet. Caterpillar down into your cobra, pause or play by peeking over the left shoulder. Come back to the midline, peek over the right shoulder, almost shrugging it away. Come back to the center line, tuck your toes under, push into the palms and the toes and hold your up dog or gently sway back and forth. Giving a nice little tug into not only the back chain of the legs, but the belly. Find your down dog frame and take it for a walk. Step up the right leg, trying to stack underneath the hips as you step up, roll it up. Hands come to heart center. Big breath in, take a gentle back bend. Come back to mountain, throw the right arm softly back, giving me a slight twist. Throw the left arm slightly back. Fold forward, think ragdoll, and just gently sway side to side. Connect the hands to the mat and step back into plank. Stay or sway back and forth. Think toe and heel. Come to stillness. Drop to the knees. Caterpillar down, finding your way into cobra. Pause or peek over the left shoulder, shrugging away. Come back to the center line. Shrug the right shoulder. Come back to the center line. Tuck your toes under. Push into the palms and the toes. Find your up dog, strong through the shoulders and the core. Sway back and forth. Ready for your down dog? Pike your bum up to the ceiling and take your dog for a walk. Step up left and then right, stacking underneath the hips as you ragdoll roll up. Hands to heart center. Big breath in, take that back bend. Throw the left arm slightly back. Throw the right arm slightly back. Ragdoll, roll forward, and then gently just sway side to side, dangling down with no tension in the arms. Connect the hands to the mat and step back into plank. Hold steady or sway gently back and forth, strong through the shoulders, strong through the core and the legs. Come to stillness, drop to the knees, relax your feet, caterpillar down, finding your way into cobra, stay, or gently shrug the left shoulder, peeking over it. Come back towards the center line. Drop the right shoulder back and peek over it. Come back to the center. Tuck your toes under, push into the palms and the toes, and hold a strong up dog. To play, gently sway back and forth. Try to get into those knots in the calves and the back chain of the legs. Ease into a down dog, friend, and walk it out. We've got one more round on the left to go. Step upright and then left. Ragdoll roll up. Hands to heart center. Big breath in, take a back bend. Come back to mountain. Give me a gentle twist, throwing the left arm softly back before you repeat to the right. Fold forward, soft through the knees and ragdoll, roll or sway side to side. Come to stillness along the midline and step back into plank. Hold or gently sway or rock the body weight back and forth. Think toe and heel, strong through your core and the shoulders. Come to stillness, drop to the knees, relax your feet. Caterpillar down. Set up a cobra line. Softly shrug the left shoulder away and peek behind you. Come back to the center. Shrug the right shoulder. Come back. Tuck your toes under. Push into the palms and the toes and find a nice bow shape through the back as you find up dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, and then make it dynamic. Transition into a down dog and walk it out. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step up left and then right. Slowly peel up along the center line, finding your way back to center. From here, you're going to gently soften through the knees, rolling down. Give me a little pivot on the mat and set yourself up in a soft butterfly frame with the soles of the feet together and the knees open to the side. Just gently grabbing hold of the toes and allowing the knees to softly flutter out as you start warming and opening up through the groin area. Keep your shoulders softly dropping away from your ears. Still the legs. Keep the feet together, but float your hands behind your leg line. Hands more or less softly behind your hip line. Gently rock the body weight from one bum cheek to the other, looking for those areas of tightness. If you find it, maybe rock and stay there a bit. Play where you're comfortable. Come to stillness along the midline. Gently lean your body weight forward, pushing through those fingertips as if you wanted to bring your nose over your two big toes. Gently come back up to a nice lengthened spine and tuck into easy sitting. Let's bring the left leg in first and stack the right leg in front. Sit up nice and tall, take a big breath in and float your hands overhead. On the exhale, fold forward and try to drop to the palms and the elbows as you nod your forehead down to the floor. If that's not happening for you, reach for your block, use the block in any dimension and find a lean-in position, maybe stacking the forearms and leaning into the block. If you need more height from the floor, just flip the block over. Find what works for you. Try to work into those areas of tightness that you're going to feel on the back chain of the right hamstring. Gently shrug any tension out of your head and your neck and relax the lower back. Peel softly up along the midline of the body. Take a big breath in. We're going to gently twist to the right. Float the right fingertips behind your hips. Cross over the midline with the left to grab hold of the outside of your right knee with the left hand and lengthen through the spine as you come into the twist. Getting a nice little release into the lower back area. Keep lengthening through the spine and keep that back arm soft. Give me a soft elbow and just push the fingertips into the floor. Take a big inhale in, come back towards the center line, resting both hands on your knees. We're going to twist to the left. Rotate, place your left fingertips on the floor behind you, cut opposite hand to knee on the front leg, and come into a long line through the spine as you twist. Belly button softly pulled in, and make sure that both bum bones are equally weighted into the mat and that you're not leaning aggressively to one side. Try to keep yourself relatively center aligned. Come back towards the midline of the body and softly fold forward again to the center, trying to connect your palms and your elbows and maybe dropping the crown of your head a little bit closer to the floor this time. Stay where you're at. Use the block if you need to. Close your eyes, take your focus in. Give me a wiggle and a release into the body if you need it. Find those areas of tightness and try to release them as we start stretching deeper and deeper. Peel up along the center line and float back into your butterfly. Hold on to the feet and softly flutter those knees up and down, relaxing and releasing into the groin. Come to stillness. Float the hands behind your hip line and gently rock from one bum cheek to the other, looking for those tight knots and massaging them out on the mat. Gently lean or tilt your torso forward as if you were bringing your toes and your nose, or rather your nose over your toes, not quite getting them to meet. And then gently peel up along the center line and tuck into easy sitting once more, this time leading with the left leg in front. Big breath in. Fold forward. Use your block if you need to. As you gently connect and fold forward, really try to make your trunk heavy into the mat, almost as if there was a magnet pulling not only your crown but your chest towards the floor, so that you really feel that deep stretch along the back chain of the left leg as it feeds into your glute. Peel softly up along the midline of the body. Take a big breath in, filling your lungs up to capacity. We're going to twist to the left. Place the left fingertips behind you and grab a right hand on the outside of the left knee as you come into the twist. Long and lengthen through the spine. Pretend there's a suction cup, gently pulling your crown towards the ceiling. Come back towards the center line. Fill up your lungs as you take a big breath in. On the exhale, rotate and twist in the opposite direction. Long and lengthened. Release that lower back. Come back towards the midline of the body and find your butterfly line. Flutter and open up. And then gently rock your body weight side to side. You can keep holding onto the toes, or you can place the hands behind you if you prefer. Come to stillness along the midline and see if you can open up your right leg, tucking the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right leg. Pivot so that you're facing the right toes and gently place your palms on the mat and try to creep or slide your hands forward, trying to drop onto the elbow on both sides of your leg. If that's not happening for you, you've got some play options. Maybe take your block, placing the block on the inside of the right leg, find a lean-in position, stacking your forearms, or if you prefer, you can reach for your block, your strap or your hand towel, loop it around your foot, and just find a gentle stretch position here. Trying to just relax and release through the lower back, play where you're comfortable. Peel softly up along the midline of the body and find your way back into butterfly. Holding onto the feet as you gently flutter through the knees. Keep holding onto the toes as you gently rock the body weight from one bum cheek to the other. Come to stillness along the midline and just gently bend through the elbows and see if you can bring your torso closer towards your feet. Peel up along the center line, extend the left leg along your mat and tuck the right heel to the inside of the left leg. Pivot, face your left toes, place your palms gently on the mat or maybe just the fingertips and creep your weight forward. Thinking of gently draping forward. If that's not happening, use your block, find your lean-in position or use your strap. Play with whichever modification is working for you. Try to soften, relax, and release into the mat. Peel softly up along the midline of the body and find your way back into butterfly. Holding onto the toes, flutter out. We're going to change it up slightly. Find your rock side to side. Keep lengthening through the arms and keeping the collars soft away from your ears. Come to stillness along the midline of the body and place the right fingertips behind your hip line. Take the left palm to the inside of the left leg. Gently push down on the left knee and peep and rotate over the right shoulder. Opening up as much as your groin area will allow. So focus on that tightness and the pinch that you're feeling in the groin area and on the inside of the hip bone on the left. Come back towards the center line, grab hold of both toes and flutter out. Gently rock side to side. Come to stillness along the midline. Float the left fingertips behind you. Right palm to the inside of the right knee. Push down on that right knee. Allow the groin area to open up as you gently rotate to peek over that back left shoulder. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in the whole time. Come back towards the center line and this time try to feed both hands through, behind or around your ankle. Try to cup around the feet if you can. You're going to feel more of a stretch into the lower back. So just wiggle the arms through and softly fold forward. You're almost using the weight of your shins and your calves to drag the arms and the torso closer towards the floor, getting you more of a stretch into the back area, but work with care. If binding underneath is not happening for you, maybe just softly drape your hands onto the floor or reach for the block. Place the block on the floor in front of you and just gently lean into it. Play where you're comfortable. From here, we're going to bring it into Upavista Konasana, a wide straddle. Gently peel up along the center line and open up through both legs. Readjust your bum bones on the mat and make sure that you're tilting your pelvis down to the 6 o'clock position. Place your palms or your fingertips gently on the mat and see if you can creep your way forward onto the elbows. Just gently pushing into those open hands and the elbows and wiggling and releasing through the lower back and the shoulders till you find a comfortable lean-in position, trying to bring your bosom towards the chest. If that's not happening for you, use your block. Find a lean-in position, maybe stacking the forearms and playing where you're comfortable. Hold for a few more breaths. Gently walk your weight back and pivot to face the right toes. Keep that tilt of the pelvis down to the 6 o'clock position. Creep your fingertips forward and see if you can bring one elbow on either side, or take your block, place it on the inside of the leg and find a lean-in position here, or use your strap around your foot if you prefer. If you feel tightness along that right leg, softly, dynamically bend and extend through that leg. Creep your way back towards the center line and find a forward fold release to the middle, trying to bring your torso closer to the chest, or your chest rather, closer to the floor this time as you gently fold forward. Play where you're comfortable. If you're feeling tightness along the neck and the back, just wiggle it out until you find a comfortable release and then settle in. Peel back up along the center line. Softly pivot to the left. Creep your way forward, trying to softly connect both palms and both elbows either side of your left leg, or use your block or your strap modification. Wiggle it out. Find a resting spot that you feel addresses all those knots of tightness that you're discovering. Bend and extend through the back chain of the left leg if you need to. Remember, we all hold tension differently in the body, so it's up to you to find those areas and move through the tightness. Come back towards the center line of the body and gently creep your way forward. Either staying on the elbows or sliding your hands out and trying to give me a toe lock, taking your thumb, middle and index finger and giving me a little toe lock around the big toe of each foot, trying to bring your chest closer to the floor if you can. If that's not happening for you, maybe just sliding your hands along the chain of the leg and stopping where you're comfortable, or repeating the elbow stretch that you played with in the previous round. Find what works for you and hold that stretch for me. If you can comfortably reach your chest to the floor, maybe lean into one cheek so that you don't bruise your nose or your chin. Trying to keep the toe lock on the right, peel up along the center line and drop the right elbow to the inside of the right knee as you float the left arm overhead, either giving me a soft T-frame or reaching all the way over, lengthening through the arm. If you have the range of motion, grab hold of the outside of your pinky toe and hold the bind here. If you're struggling to make that connection, maybe take your block, place it on the inside of the right knee. Lean your elbow in, find the bind that works for you. If you can't reach the toe, use your strap, your belt, or your hand towel to make that connection. Make sure you give yourself some excess strap and maybe find the bind here. Play where you're comfortable. Find your way back towards the midline, trying to reach for both toes if you can, as you think chest to floor. Maybe rotating and lying on the opposite cheek this time if you can comfortably connect to the floor. Peel softly up along the center line. Try to keep the toe lock on the left. Use the block if you need to. Drop your elbow to the floor. Softly float your arm overhead and try to bind to the outside of the pinky toe on the left. Almost rotating through that top shoulders if you wanted to peek around your elbow towards the ceiling. Keep softly bracing into the heels of both legs. Peel back up along the center line, trying to bind to both toes as you fold forward, thinking chest to floor. If you can comfortably connect, roll onto one cheek and just give yourself a little time out. Peel back up along the center line. Bending the knees, dragging the feet closer, stopping a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Float the hands behind you and just softly drop both knees to one side as you look over the shoulder and oscillate side to side, just giving me a little release into the groin and the hips and the lower back. We're going to come back into that seated straddle and we're going to play with another progression, maybe reaching for your block this time if you have it at hand. Open back up into your wide-legged seated straddle. Reach for your block. Take a big breath in as you extend the block in front of you. Draw the block in towards your chest, allowing the elbows to flare out to the side of the room. On the exhale, push the block away from your chest, maybe brushing it across the floor and trying to extend out on the floor as you come into extension. If coming low to the floor is not an option for you, maybe just think of gently drawing the block away and arcing slightly up towards the ceiling, framing your ears, and just give me as much opening through the groin as is comfortable for you. Peel softly up along the midline of the body, rotate to the right, brushing the block over the top of your leg, trying to hook around your feet and pulling the block into your foot. Push with the foot and pull with the hands so that you can feel that oppositional stretch happening, trying to fold forward and maybe bring your nose and your chest as close to the top of your right thigh as you're capable. If hooking around the foot is not an option for you, maybe just place the block on the inside and find a lean-in position. Play where you're comfortable. Come back towards the midline of the body. We're going to stretch to the middle, either brushing the block along the floor and connecting your chest to the mat, laying your forehead down on the floor, or working with a little bit more distance between your torso and the floor as you softly extend out in front, framing your ears, bracing into the heels. Come back towards the midline of the body and pivot slightly to the left, brushing the block along the top of your thighs, hook over the toes, pull the block in, push with your foot, resist as you pull the block in, folding forward, trying to drape your torso to the top of your left thigh. Peel softly back up along the midline of the body and give me one more forward fold to the middle, either coming low to the floor and dropping that torso, or giving yourself more distance from the mat and the floor and framing your ears. Hold. Come softly back towards the midline of the body and find your way back into a butterfly position on the mat. Holding gently onto the feet, flutter and release so that you can feel that softening and that release through the groin area. Gently rock your body weight side to side, either holding onto the toes or placing the hands behind your hip line if you find that's more comfortable. Come to stillness along the midline. Feed your hands through, trying to tuck underneath your ankle almost, taking both hands and holding onto the toes and just draping forward. Try to allow your legs to weigh the arms and the torso down into the mat and try to release and soften as much as you can through the lower back. Keep your drape soft and relaxed. We're going to bring it into a half lotus line from here. Gently uncouple. Tuck your left heel in as close to the perineum as you can, either stacking into easy sitting or taking your right foot, placing the right heel on the inside of the left hip bone so that you're resting the bridge of your foot on the top of your left thigh. Find the leg bind that works for you. Place your right hand on the inside of the right knee, left fingertips behind your hip line. Push down on the inside of the knee and softly rotate to peek over the back shoulder. Wiggle around, look for the tightness that's in your body and try to breathe and stretch into that tightness. Try to keep both of your bum bones equally grounded as you open through the groin area on the right. Inhale, come back to the midline. We're going to twist in the opposite direction, floating the right fingertips on the floor behind you. Reach over to place your left hand on the inside of the right knee as you gently push the right knee away and down towards the floor, peeking over your right shoulder. Long and lengthen through the spine. Find your way softly back towards the midline of the body and gently creep your fingertips away, trying to connect your elbows and palms to the mat as you lean forward, or using one of the block modifications that you find maybe works better for you, and find a comfortable lean-in position. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in, and if you have managed to connect your palms and your elbows, really lean into the elbows and try to get that stretch along the back chain of the right leg. Feel softly up along the midline of the body. Uncouple consciously. We sound like Gwyneth Paltrow. Find your way back into butterfly. Softly flutter, release, using those knees to make that movement happen. And then gently either holding onto the toes or placing the hands behind you as you rock your body weight side to side from one bum cheek to the other. We're going to come into that butterfly, trying to tuck the hands underneath the leg line, wiggle it through on both sides. Drape forward, thinking nose to toes. Maybe aim your nose for that little open spot between the arches of both feet. Peel softly back up along the center line. We're going to find half lotus on the other side, tucking the right leg in first and placing your left foot into the half lotus line on the mat. Right fingertips on the floor behind you, left hand to the inside of the knee. Push that leg down and away as you softly rotate to peek over the right shoulder. Long and lengthen through your spine. Almost weighing your pelvis down into the floor and trying to bring the ribs up higher towards the ceiling. Come back towards the midline and set up your twist in the opposite direction, placing the right palm on the inside of the right knee and pushing down. Come back towards the center line and slowly find a forward fold drape that works for you. Wiggling around if you need to find your release. We're going to come to one more butterfly from here before we change our orientation on the mat. So find your butterfly setup, hold on to the feet, and softly flutter release. Long and lengthen, drop those shoulders away from your ears and soften through the elbows. Find your gentle bum rock, side to side, either holding onto the feet or placing your hands on the floor behind your hip line, whichever feels most natural for you. Tuck the hands through on both sides and find your butterfly drape, keeping the belly button softly pulled in and trying to bring the nose closer towards that target, that drishti, peeping between the arches of both feet. Peel softly up along the midline of the body and change your orientation on the mat. Sitting up in staff pose towards the front end of your mat. Place your fingertips on the floor alongside your body and then creep your fingertips forward, trying to come into a soft Paschimottanasana, forward fold with the elbows and the palms either sides of your leg, and then softly nod forward, thinking nose to knee as you find Paschimottanasana. If that's not working for you, maybe take the block, placing it between the two legs and finding a lean-in position here, or if you prefer to use your strap, loop that around your feet and find a lean-in position that works for you. Maybe flaring the elbows out to the side of the room and trying to draw your chest as close to the floor as you can. Find your release and hold it for me. From here, we're going to work a little sequence on the right side before we bring it to the left. We're going to find heron pose. Gently peel up along the midline of the body. Keep your left leg extended. Bend the right knee and draw the foot in closer towards your body line. Use both hands to reach for the undercarriage of your right foot and just bring the foot up off the floor and hug the whole leg. Make the heel heavy to the floor and just think of hugging the whole leg in towards your body line. Soften the shoulders away from your ears, but try not to lean all of your body weight back. Try to give me a long lengthened spine. And then see if you can extend that right leg out in front, holding on to the undercarriage, not leaning your weight back. So trying to hug almost chest to the top of your thigh. If you need a little bit of an assist, either using the looped portion of your belt and feeding it through your foot and holding on here, or just looping the whole strap around your foot and finding a comfortable grip position there. Hold heron, crouchasana. We're going to play with it. Hold on to the right hand with your right foot and float the right fingertips just behind your hip line. Open the foot slightly to the right as you peek over the left shoulder. Think about a 45-degree angle on the left and keep your right fingertips just softly connected to the mat. Belly button pulled in towards the center line the whole time. We're going to work a slight twist. Come back to the center line. Grab opposite hand to foot. Float the right fingertips behind you. You can either grab your grip around or from the inside. So whichever feels better for you. Find a grip that you feel works for you. From here, we're going to bring it into rock the baby, Hindulasana, but we're going to change it up slightly. Come back towards the center line. Bend the left elbow and try to place the right foot into the crook of that elbow. Then take the right palm to the inside of the right knee and gently push the knee away as you hug the left foot in towards your chest. Try to keep your spine as lengthened as you can and try not to lean aggressively to one side. Try to have your bum bones relatively equally weighted. Stay or play. To play, take the right arm, thread it around and behind the knee. Try to interlace the hands and make a little cradle for your baby and gently rock side to side. If coming into a cradle position is not happening for you, maybe just hold on to the foot and the outside of the knee and make your movement a little bit further away from the chest. So playing where you're comfortable. Rock your baby. From this position, we're going to come onto the back. But before we do, let's just do a little half happy baby. Come back to your seated frame and hold on to the undercarriage of your foot. This time, trying to bring your knee into the armpit. Maybe even think past the armpit on the right as you come into half a seated happy baby. Give me a couple of breaths here, and then we'll take it into an arrow hold. Hold onto the right foot with your right hand, and on an exhale, push the right leg away as you float the left arm behind and hold that long lengthened line. Think T-frame, soft T-frame through the arms, and try to give me as much length through the spine as you can. So don't get stuck and round out behind your hip bones. Think long and lengthened through the torso. You're going to come back into your rock the baby. Tuck back in, bend the left elbow, place the foot on the inside of the elbow. Push the right knee away with your right hand and hug the left foot in towards your chest. Stay or bind around, finding a little cradle for your baby and rocking it out. From here, as you unbind, place your ankle on the top of the left thigh, bend the knee slightly, place your palms on the mat, and roll back onto the back, setting yourself up for a figure four. Keep the bind of your legs and bring the left knee up to 90. With our left hand, grab your right foot, and with the right palm, place it on the inside of the knee. Push the right knee away as you hug the left foot in towards your face. So it's a little bit of an oppositional stretch. You're pulling the foot in towards your chest and you're pushing the knee away at the same time. Hold. Then gently drop the sole of the left foot to the floor and try to give me a toe lock on the right leg. Coming into extension. If that's not happening for you, maybe use your strap. Feeding into the strap or using that little loop at the end of your strap to feed your foot in and come into hand to big toe on the right side of the body. On the left side of the body, you can either extend your arm softly out in a T-frame or you can give me a goalpost frame, whichever you want to play with. Keep your left knee bent or extend that leg bracing into the heel and try to open up that tight little knot behind the right knee. Then slowly rotate your head to the right as you try to rotate your head to the left as you open up the leg to your right, finding the B line, opening up as wide as you're comfortable. Find your way softly back towards the midline of the body. Hold the A line, try and tug down on that foot. You're going to give me a one-legged roll-up to come back into your seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Bend your supported leg or keep it extended, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Float both hands overhead. Think of framing your foot, brace into both heels, nod your chin to your chest, and peel up. Coming straight into Paschimottanasana, placing your hands on the mat, either draping them to the floor or reaching for your block and feeding the block around and over your feet, hugging the block in and pushing away with your feet as you come into a little bound Paschimottanasana. Baddha Paschimottanasana. Play where you're comfortable, either holding onto the block or just dropping your elbows and your palms to the mat. Find the drape that works for you. Peeling softly up along the center line, we're going to find our way into Heron. Bend the left knee, reach for the undercarriage of your foot, hug the foot in, almost making the heel heavy to the floor. And then when you're ready, keep bracing into that right foot and extend the leg out. Using your strap or your belt if you need to. Don't round out. Think long, lengthened line through the spine. We're going to open up that Heron to the side. Hold same foot to hand, either binding from the outside or from the inside, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Place the right fingertips on the floor. Peek over the right shoulder as you open up to about 45 on the left. Don't round out and get stuck behind your bum bones. Think of that long, beautiful line that you want through the spine. And keep your belly button firmly pulled in. Let's bind to the opposite direction. Come back towards the midline. Find opposite hand to foot grip that works for you. And float the left fingertips softly to the mat behind your hip line. Long and lengthened, belly button firmly pulled in. We're going to bring it into rock the baby. Come back towards the midline. Bend the right elbow, feed the left foot in, hug or hold on to that leg, and use the left palm to push the left knee away. Hugging the foot into your chest and pushing the knee softly away. Long and lengthened through the spine. Softly bracing into the foot of your supportive leg. Stay or bind around the leg, making a little cradle for your baby. And gently rocking your baby side to side. Let's find a little seated half a happy baby. Bending the knee. Think of almost bringing the knee in towards your armpit and maybe past your armpit as you hug in and lengthen through the spine. Try not to lean aggressively to one side. Trying to keep your body weight relatively center aligned. We're going to hold and push into arrow. Extend. Just think soft T-frame as you push the left leg away and extend the right arm behind you. Think soft T-frame through the arms and lengthen through your spine. Try not to round out and get stuck behind your bum bones. Bring it back into your rock the baby frame. Hugging in, pushing the left knee away and hugging the foot in towards your chest. Stay or make a little cradle for your baby and gently rock the baby. You're going to find your way from here onto the back in your figure four. Drop your ankle to the thigh of the right leg, bend the knee, and gently place your hands on the mat, finding your way onto the spine and coming straight into your figure four, holding onto your right foot with the right hand and placing the inside of your palm to the inside of your left leg, pushing the knee away on the left and hugging the foot in on the right. Keep using your right thigh to increase the stretch. Unbind and find your toe lock on the left leg, either giving me a goalpost frame on your right arm or bringing it into a soft T. Keep gently tugging down on the toes as you come into extension. Extend your supported leg if you can. See if you can get into those tight kinks along the back chain of the legs. And then when you're ready, open up into the B position, slowly floating your head to the right as you open up the leg to your left. Finding Supta Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana B. Supine hand to big toe B. Try to keep your right shoulder and bum connected to the mat. Float back to your A-line. Gently tugging down on the toes, really trying to get that tight knot behind the right knee sorted out. You're going to give me a one-legged roll-up to come back into your seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Float both hands overhead. Either bend your supported leg or keep it extended. Nod your chin to your chest. Roll up, coming straight into Paschimottanasana, draping your elbows to the floor or reaching one last time for your block and hooking it over your toes as you hug the block into your body and push away with your feet. Allowing your elbows to softly flare out and try to bring your torso as close to your legs as you can. Wiggle around if you're feeling any areas of tightness and just try to settle in. Feel that release along the entire back chain of the legs. Feel the release into the lower back and the hips and the groin. Softly peel up along the midline of the body, bending the knees, connecting the soles of the feet to the mat. Gently hug in towards your chest and end off your practice by just nodding the chin towards the chest and saying a soft namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's stretch series. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning tomorrow. And for tomorrow's class, you are going to need a prop. I will give you an option to use the prop or not. You're going to need a small, think of a little ottoman or little footstool, or you could even use a solid chair for the class just so that you've got something to press into. If you don't have anything like that at hand, don't worry. You can just do the freestyle option. For those of you that have responded to the channel announcement, thank you so much. For those of you that haven't yet had the time, please shoot me your comments and your feedback. I shall see you all tomorrow for playtime on the mat. Till then, keep it light.